tree of a bird.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Yuki and John's podcast buffet live from Northern Fancon. Now, we did one live on the main stage of Northern Fancon, but Yuki and I are at our booth, and we figured we're just chilling here. We're waiting for people to come up and say hello. We've met a few people from the last drive-in who are fans and just some really nice Canadians, but since we're here and we're hanging out, I figured we'd introduce a episode that we do live remote from the ground. I mean, we were sandwiched next to Bill Pullman and Dave Foley. I just had lunch with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Dave Foley, Bill Pullman. It was a really wild adventure. So what I want to do here is kind of set up this odd remote episode of the podcast buffet. Yuki, what do you think so far about Northern Fancon?
These are always fun, you know, many people with costume and then crazy. Like I just met the female Han Solo and then she looks better than Harrison Ford.
A female Han Solo that looks better than Harrison Ford. How is that possible?
Well, look at her.
Oh yeah, she looks pretty good, Yuki.
Right?
Jesus Christ, I just got a lightsaber. My lightsaber just went out and it went.
Yeah. So, you know, it's really fun. Yeah.
So Yuki, so to start, we have so many people that we met, but we met yesterday after we did our panel and talked about soaking. 3 Mormon fellows came up to us, 3 Mormon brothers, and started telling me about Mormon stuff. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to cut to a segment with them about Mormonism, and they're going to tell us some things that we didn't know about Mormonism.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea about the Mormon. And the guy, he said, oh yeah, we have a many story to tell. So they must have a weird, well, I wouldn't say secret, but weird people, normally people don't know culture they have, I think.
That's right. They have a different culture. So we're going to learn straight from the Mormons' mouths right now, and then we'll come back. You and I will talk a little bit. We'll talk to some of the other people here,
right.
And then we'll go back to the Mormons because they told me some other stuff about some other stuff that's crazy. So, Yuki, we're here at Northern Fancon. What do you think so far about Canada?
Canada, it's good, I think. Different, they're crazy, I think. But in the different crazy from US. Little different, but they are crazy.
Right, we're crazy in a bad way. They're crazy in a good way.
Yeah, I agree with you, yes.
All right, so here we go. Here's 3 Mormon brothers telling us some secrets about Mormonism. Hello, everyone. This is John Brennan, and I'm here on the floor of Northern Fancon. Now, we just did a live podcast, and the lights were so blinding that I couldn't see the audience. So when I opened it up for audience participation, I had a couple of Mormon fellows who wanted to talk to us about soaking and the underwear and stuff like that. So here I am now on the floor afterwards, and we're going to interview about the Mormonism that they grew up with. This is amazing. This is an exclusive. So can you introduce yourself?
My name is Christian Calvert.
Christian Calvert, thank you so much. What brings you to Northern Fancon?
I'm just here with my brothers, and I saw your booth, and I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. And when I walked up, you were talking about soaking, and I'm like, this is the place for me. I know where I'm at.
That's the place for him because we know all about soaking. All right, and what's your name?
I am Colby Calvert. I'm a diehard Mormon, a diehard soaker. I absolutely love soaking. Did it every week when I was at BYU.
So you're the Bruce Willis of soaking. You're a diehard.
Yes, I actually got kicked out, not because of the soaking, but because I broke too many beds.
He got kicked out because he broke beds soaking. Now, okay.
I was the jumper.
You were the jumper?
Yeah, I jumped. It was $20 each.
So, okay. So how did you get involved in the jumping and the soaking and all that stuff? Did somebody ask you, or did you say, hey, I'll do it for you?
They asked me.
You asked?
They asked you. Okay, and then so what was the process there? Did you come in and say, I'm here to soak and I'm here to jump? Or what was the process?
Well, they came to me. They were like, hey, man, you want to be a professional jumper and do it for us? We'll pay you $20 per session, sessions being anywhere between 20 minutes to a couple hours, depending on if they've done their Bible studies. And yeah, it was pretty successful. I made about $40 in total.
$40 jump humping. That's more than I got podcasting. So you've already done a better job than me in my life. Okay, so you mentioned the underwear.
Yeah.
Okay, and we need to know about the underwear because Yuki and I, you know, we're like half smart, we're half stupid, so we didn't really do any research. So can you tell us a little bit about the Mormon underpants?
Yeah, so first I'll tell you how I discovered this, because I had no idea this was a thing. I was at my cousin's house, and he got married in the temple, and that's how they give you the underwear. I didn't know that. I just saw temple underwear, because when you go to the temple, they dress you in this white, uncomfortable underwear and a big white onesie with no pockets to make sure you don't take videos or camera or any pictures when you're in the font. So I thought that this man was stealing wet underwear from the temple. I'm like, WTF, where are you getting this underwear from? And then he tells me, no, when you get married, they give you special underwear. The only time you take it off is when you take a piss or have sex. I'm like, what?
Wait, so not even for a shower? Like, are you supposed to still have it, like, or like, because somebody said that you, like, touch the underwear. As long as you're touching the underwear, you're not breaking any rules.
I think so. I don't know, man. I don't know. I've never worn the underwear other than for when I was at the temple.
$40 I'll give you if you wear the underwear.
I'll wear it for $40. I'll wear
$40 Colby will give you his jump humping money to wear the underwear.
He'll give me my jump humping money. Yeah. No, I'll take that. I'll take that.
I will add that the jumpers were usually also the watchers. They would watch the door, and then when someone would walk in, they would just jump off the bed, block the door.
That's amazing.
Watchers, yeah.
So we have soakers, jump humpers, and watchers. This is a revelation.
I gotta say they had to have been kicked out because like the soaking's only bad when the monkeys fall off the bed and then they keep moving. That's the problem.
So we're here with a couple of really friendly Canadian ex-Mormon fellows. Okay, here's a big question. Do you still subscribe to or believe in any of the tenets of Mormonism, even though you don't follow the religion religiously?
Well, I mean, I do believe in like the basic stuff. Like when people say "Thou shalt not murder," perfect, great. I love not murdering. It's my favorite hobby. Thou shalt not stay loyal to your partners. All that fancy stuff. Like that, I believe in that stuff. I don't necessarily believe in a lot of the things that make the Mormon religion specifically Mormon.
So I grew up Catholic, and I feel very similar to you in the fact that I agree with a lot of the things that are said in the Bible as far as the goodness, be good to people, that sort of thing, but I don't believe in a lot of the supernatural or that kind of thing. What about you, Christian?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Like I follow all the words of wisdom is what the Mormons have. It's on top of the commandments. It's like no premarital sex, don't be drinking, don't be smoking, don't put anything in your body you shouldn't. I obviously I drink caffeine, which is against the whole Mormon faith, which is kind of weird. They say no, it's technically no hot drinks. Like they don't want you to have coffee or pop or anything caffeinated. I've never listened to that. I would put pop in the garbage and old people would be like, "Whoo, it's breaking the rules" when I was in church. But no, I still follow all the rules of the church, even though because I just think that they're pretty wise. They're pretty good rules to go by.
Okay, good rules.
I will add one thing. There was one guy at my church who loved to drink coffee, but loved to hide it. And he was one of the high priests. So he would come into church drinking a coffee, and that was like a big no-no. Like coffee was one of the big no-nos at the same level of alcohol. And so he would like throw it out and try to hide it. Like his family all knew about it, but the church didn't. And so it's absolutely hilarious trying to see this guy chug down a coffee right before he walks into church to preach about how bad coffee is.
It's almost impossible to hide coffee breath, so I don't know what his tactics were, mints or any of that sort of stuff, but I don't know how you hide coffee breath. Mouth soaking. Ooh, is that a real thing?
No. No, I do have a story though. I think Yuki might like this one. What was it? So this is a story from when my parents were living in Japan. They were teaching English, right? So they're very Mormon, and they all decided to go to the church to make some friends, right? Of course, they meet a new member. A member invites them to the house, right? They're like, hey, come for dinner. My parents, they don't like other food. They don't like Japanese food. They'd been living off of Yoshinoya and McDonald's this whole time. They don't know what's good or not. They grab some green ice cream thinking it's mint and it's wasabi flavored. They do not want any of this stuff, right? So he says, I'll treat you to some steaks. And they're like, oh my goodness, a steak, that sounds amazing. They go to this man's house, they sit down, they have the steaks in front of them, and they're at the dining table, and behind the owner is the staircase up the stairs. And when he comes down, when he's sitting there and they're all at the table, they realize there's no barbecue sauce. And the owner of the house, member of the church, he's like a business owner, owns a cotton factory, and he was like, "Slave, get me barbecue sauce!" And this little brown Asian man runs down the stairs and gets onto a pedal bike and rides down the street, and comes back with barbecue sauce a few minutes later. My parents are sitting there shocked. They have no idea what the hell's going on. They're like, "We just went to the stranger's house and he has a slave. What's going on?" Right? So yeah, this is true. So he quickly sits and he goes, "Oh yeah, so I own a cotton factory, and I thought it'd be really funny when I was in Thailand." He's like, "I'm on vacation in Thailand, and I thought it was really funny because I see these slaves that are going into indentured servitude, which, if you don't know, is like kind of like slavery, but there's kind of rules around how they need to be treated. They get paid a wage. It's for, instead of bankruptcy, it's for honor's sake, they go into indentured servitude." So he's like, "So I'm sitting there, and I see this little brown guy, and he's like, I think I'm gonna buy this guy." And so he buys this guy, and as a joke, because he thinks it's funny, and brings him back to Japan with him. And he pays them a full Japanese wage. So at the time, that is like 1,000 times more he's going to make living in indentured servitude in Thailand. And when the church finds out about this, they catch wind of this and realize one of their higher priests, has a slave. They come up and they're like, "What the hell? You cannot own a slave." They come over to him and they're like, "Man, like, you gotta free your slave, man. You have to free him." It's been a few years now, and now basically this business owner, this man, and the slave, they're basically friends, and the slavery is a joke to them because he's been hiring him and paying him at full wage to basically be an assistant. He comes out and they're like, "Okay, free your slave," and he's just like, "Slave, be free," and he's like, "I'm not leaving." He's like, "I'm not going anywhere." He's like, "I'm getting paid." He's like, "I'm not going anywhere." He's like, so he's like, "You are free." He's like, "I'm not leaving." He's like, I'm sending money back home." So the priests are all sitting there around this guy going, he's like, "Well, you heard him. He's not going home." So he hired him, and that was how my parents met a Japanese slave owner when they were teaching English in Japan.
What a wild story.
And what makes this even funnier is that none of this is a joke. This is all real, backed up by pictures and stuff that we've been shown. This guy is real. He just bought a slave as a joke to bring back to Japan and be his servant for years.
Oh my God, it's just mind-blowing. I wish Yuki was here to see this because...
It's almost like he's here with us right now.
There he is, Yuki Nakamura, ladies and gentlemen. Yuki, what do you think about Japanese slaves? They said that this guy owned a Japanese slave in the modern times.
Slave?
Yeah. So my dad, when he lived in Japan, when he met one of the members of the Mormon church, and he had a slave from Thailand.
I don't know anything about that. I never even heard. I didn't know there was a Mormon in Japan. No.
There's Mormon churches in Japan. There's Mormon churches in Japan. They're not as common because most of it is Shinto or Buddhism, right? Right. But there is. There are Mormons in Japan.
I'm not even Buddhism, so I have no idea about those. Oh.
So you heard it here first, baby. There's Mormonism in Japan. This is insane. Here we are at Northern Fancon, and the third brother here. Let's just get you introducing here. What's your name?
Gavin.
Gavin. So we've been discussing and learning about Mormonism. Any additional thoughts about Mormonism, or any ideas about why you love it or why you would leave the church?
I don't know.
He doesn't know. You heard it here first. Gavin does not know. So we're here in Canada at Northern Fancon. This has been such a blast. Any final thoughts on anything? It doesn't even have to be about Mormonism or soaking or Japanese slaves, anything.
Perfect. All right, listen, guys. If you're a virgin, all you have to do, go to BYU, say that you're hyper Mormon, and then ask any person you see about soaking. They'd be on the spot. It might cost you a little money, probably $20, cheaper than a prostitute. Cheaper than a prostitute. Absolutely recommend. 10 out of 10. Would do again.
Man, I think he's got me right there. He said, he took the words right out of my mouth. Honestly, it's been so fun talking with you, Josh.
All right, that was amazing. The fact that the Mormons blew my mind 6 or 7 times. We have more with the Mormon brothers coming up. Yuki, so we're sitting here, we're hanging out, we got a little bit of time. Some great fans of The Last Drive-In came to our table multiple times, but there's one specific couple who came, and they have a very special story about this convention. What do you think about these beautiful Last Drive-In fans?
I really appreciate. That's a priceless. I was touched.
So touched. So we'll let the interview speak for itself. But this one specific couple came up and they told us
For 8 hours, right?
they said they drove for 8 hours to come and meet me and Yuki. I mean, like, you know, most other people here are local, but these guys drove. But they have a very special story about Northern Fancon and why it's so special to them. And Yuki, I started to tear up, right?
Yeah, because the guy proposed to her here, right?
Jesus Christ, Yuki, that's called a spoiler. What we were gonna do is like tease it so that people could, you know, hear it from their own mouths. You just fucking spoiled it.
I'm sorry.
That's what you do, Yuki. You spoil everything. Next thing you know, you're gonna tell everybody on May the 4th, which is today, that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
That's right. I am your father.
That's the best impression of James Earl Jones I've ever heard. I mean, the best.
Really? I'm not that good, though.
You're better than me.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, all right, let's go to the mutants, okay? Our beautiful mutant fam. We're going to do an interview with them. We'll come back, and then we'll talk to a few more people. We have some more surprises coming up.
Okay. That sounds great. Prince George, Canada, British Columbia. I think Canadian people are crazy in a good way.
All right, so I am here on the floor of Northern Fancon at the booth with Yuki, and we have a couple of people here who are humongous fans of The Last Drive-In, to the point where they claimed that they drove 8 hours to get here to see me and Yuki. Is this true?
That's 100% true.
Oh my goodness. Okay, tell us who you are so that we can admit you to the insane asylum.
Jerry,
And what's your Twitter handle?
the real first Joker.
The real first Joker. Now, I've seen you around. I just followed you back yesterday because I didn't realize. And please, what's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, do you have a Twitter handle?
Dudette22.
Dudette22. I'm going to follow you if I don't already. Now, okay, you guys drove 8 hours to get here. What was that like? Were there a lot of fights? Was it a lot of podcasts? What was going on?
No, we just listened to the radio and just zoned out.
Listen to the radio and zoned out. Is that your story too, or is he lying?
He snored a little bit when he was sleeping.
At the wheel?
No, I was driving.
Okay, good. As long as that's what happened. Now, you all told me a story yesterday that was really interesting to me, and I think a lot of the Mutant fam would love to hear this. You guys had dial-up internet at your home, and you guys would actually drive to a park to get the free Wi-Fi to watch The Last Drive-In.
Yes, that is very true. Yeah, we did it for years.
For years, so it was almost as if you were making your own drive-in every time that the show was on. So what was the process like?
We would plan a free night on Friday and pick out a meal to pack, and then we'd go and drive out 15 minutes, and then we would just tune in if nobody else was on the signal.
And was it like, were people staring at you? Were people thinking that you were weird?
A little bit sometimes. They'd be staring all the time, and you're like, don't look at me, don't look at me.
Don't look at me, we're just watching The Last Drive-In. We're not loitering in any way, shape, or form. So what are some of your favorite episodes that you've been witnessed?
Pretty much all of them, actually. Yeah, for sure, especially the specials. As soon as the specials would come online, I'd end up going to Fright Rags and ordering the T-shirts or the hoodies or any merchandise we could, basically. And we made a lot of friends just by wearing the merchandise around northern BC.
Heck yeah. What about your favorite episodes?
I like them all, so.
Except, don't lie, you said you didn't really like the VHS night.
No, that's true. I had to turn it off. I muscled out.
So you are not an Iron Mutant?
Not an Iron Mutant, no. I didn't get the paper.
That's right. We still love you because you're part of the Mutant family, and that's the way it goes. So what do you love about The Last Drive-In and the community and all that sort of stuff? What draws you into the show?
the sense of having family, like making strangers into friends, basically. And I just love the humor of the show, the songs, the guests. It's just like a love fest, but for horror films.
Same?
Yeah, totally the same.
Now, would you ever find yourselves traveling to a jamboree?
Of course. We already talked to Leah about it, so.
Leah, who is responsible for bringing Yuki and I to this Northern Fancon and helping us get out here. We're sponsored by Central Display. It's actually on our little sign here. It says sponsored by Central Display. Nobody else has a sponsor. We're special. What do you think about that?
I think it's incredible.
It's incredible, right? And oh, here he is, Ming from Comic Book Men, who was on our panel yesterday.
Yeah, I don't have a sponsor. What's going on, man? I want to be sponsored by Hawkins Cheesies, Coffee Crisp, Tim Hortons. They all turned me down. No, not cool.
They turned him down. So, okay, so those are the sponsors that you would love. But what if Central Display sponsors us, and then me and Yuki sponsor you?
Oh, that could work out. Yeah, we just pass on the money. Yeah, I guess that works out. Yeah.
But what's your per diem? Is it just a case of beer?
Yeah, a case of coconut beer. Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely.
That sounds like an easy deal. I mean, geez, Louise, let's sponsor Ming next year. What do you say?
Sounds perfect.
Sounds perfect. All right, we're going to sponsor Ming. That's Ming. What a great guy. You know, honestly, we talked about this yesterday on the show. I crushed Ming's head, and the fact that he still talks to me is a miracle. I crushed his head as the Toxic Avenger, and he's still coming over and saying hi. All right, any final thoughts for anybody? Because this is Yuki and John's podcast buffet. We're probably going to put this out in 2 or 3 weeks. Any final thoughts about, you know, Canada or what Northern Fancon means to you?
I don't know. We come here every year, so it's our thing that we do every single year, and we got engaged here, so.
Wait a second, you got engaged here. That's right.
5 years ago today.
5 years ago today. So what was the process like? Okay, from your point of view, and then we'll get his point of view.
Well, I knew something was up because I kept asking him what was wrong, and he kept hiding the ring in different pockets everywhere because I kept trying to hold his hand, touch his pockets, and I knew something was up, and then he sprung it on me with Lou Ferrigno and Edward James Olmos.
What a combo. Lou Ferrigno, that's a Stand and Deliver reunion. Are you kidding me? That's a great underrated movie from the 80s, Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, I was flabbergasted.
So you knelt and delivered the ring.
That is true, yep. But my plan was, I kept on calling my best friends on the phone. I ran to the bathroom all the time. I was completely nervous. And then I came up with the idea of talking to the photographer. And I was like, hey, man, I don't know if you will remember me in this lineup, but my hair's slicked back. I'm wearing a white shirt. I'm going to propose to my girlfriend. If you could just start shooting when I dropped a knee, I don't know if she's going to run, scream, faint, anything. I was completely nervous. And he's like, no, we're going to take our time. We're going to really milk it. I'm like, no, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Just start shooting when I dropped a knee. He's like, no. So what he did was he went and talked to the actors and told them the story, what's going on. They got super excited, kept on waving at us while we were in line. And then when we were finally up there, Sarah was like, why the hell are they so excited to see us? I'm like, I don't know, maybe they know we're fans. And then I dropped a knee. I heard everything. I heard the whole crowd behind us basically, oh, he's proposing. And it was like a wave of proposal, crying. People were crying in the line. She blacked out and just focused on me.
I had tunnel vision for him. I didn't hear anything but him or see him or nothing.
That's love.
That is love. Yep.
The last time I cried, I accidentally sat on my nutsack. So that was not love. This is, if I was here though, I would cry if I saw you propose. So now what are you guys going to celebrate your anniversaries here and stuff like that? Is that like a thing, or do you guys go elsewhere?
This is our celebration. We celebrate May the 4th, 5 years engaged, and July will be 3 years married.
Well, congratulations. This is so beautiful. And thank you all for coming. Honestly, the fact that you're here makes me and Yuki feel so good. And anybody on the Mutant family, follow them on Twitter and tweet along on the Friday nights every other Friday. And you have a Last Drive-In sweater on right now. It's the one with the hot dogs and Darcy and Joe Bob and the soda. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing from Fright Rags.
Yep. I do appreciate every merchandise that I get from these guys.
That's right, Fright Rags. Keep it coming, all right? And more Yuki merchandise, right, Yuki?
Yes, correct. Well,
All right, that's it from here from Northern Fancon, and we'll see you. We're gonna jump back into a little more segments because we have so many tidbits that we're talking about with everybody. Thank you all for joining. We love you, Canada. All right, that was absolutely amazing. What beautiful people to come and join us here at Northern Fancon. I mean, the fact that they got engaged here and they come back and celebrate themselves every year. May the 4th be with you. Yuki, May the 4th be with you today, and we'll probably release this in fucking June or something. But what does May the 4th be with you mean to you?
well, it's my belief. I rather believe of the force than, the Buddhism.
You'd rather believe in the Force than Buddhism. That's incredible.
Right, because, good, and then good versus evil, and then you don't have to be good to be a Christian or a Buddhism. You just to be a nice human being.
Right, dark side of the Force, light side of the Force, very cut and dry. So let me tell you about an interesting experience I just had, Yuki, because it's about lunchtime here on May the 4th, which is a Saturday, and I just had lunch accidentally. This was not planned because we have a green room upstairs where they feed us because we're guests, and they have like drinks and snacks and all that sort of stuff. I just had lunch with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Dave Foley, and Bill Pullman.
That's cool.
You didn't get to do that because you went too early.
Right, because we take turns. So I came back and then I was watching the table.
Right, and I was watching the table while you were upstairs. And I got lucky because all of a sudden I'm sitting there and Hacksaw Jim Duggan sits down with his lovely wife and they start talking about their travels through Canada, thrift stores and Goodwill, and I love thrift stores, so we had a great conversation. We had a great conversation about bears and which bears you're supposed to lay down for and which ones you're supposed to run away and make a lot of noise from. Do you know which bear is which?
No, I have no idea. I don't know. But it's a good thing you better talker because I don't know who that.
You don't know Hacksaw Jim Duggan? You're sitting here saying that you want to do another wrestling episode, and you don't even know who Hacksaw Jim Duggan is?
No, and then I really didn't know David either. So, if I were there, I couldn't talk to them anyway. So, it was you better than me.
Well, Dave Foley, okay, so Hacksaw Jim Duggan, lovely. He was asking me questions like, where are you from, brother? That kind of stuff. And I'm like, this is amazing. And then at the end, I told him when he was going back, he's like, back to work. And I said, just before you go, I want to let you know, I'm going to name my son Hacksaw John Brennan. And he said, actually, somebody told me that they named their son Hacksaw, and also somebody else named their son Duggan.
What? That's cool.
Yeah, so people name themselves after him, and then
So is a real name, given name?
that's what they said. Somebody did it, so they beat me to it. So I can't do it. I have to not name my son Hacksaw John Brennan. Maybe it's gonna be Macho Man Randy Brennan.
I don't know. Hope kid doesn't why my parents named me like a Hacksaw.
Hacksaw's a cool name, man. You go through Hacksaw, nobody's gonna fuck with you in high school.
I don't know. I mean, it's like it's better than crap bag, but
Way better than Crap Bag. If you're named Crap Bag John Brennan, you're gonna have a fucked up life.
right? But so hope Hacksaw is he has a better life.
You'd have a better life. And then I said, when I was a kid, me and my brother had the styrofoam 2x4, and he said now they're collector's items because a lot of them, the material that they made those styrofoam 2x4s, or maybe it wasn't styrofoam, it was some sort of foam. And he said that a lot of them are deteriorating and a lot of them were destroyed by pets and things like that. But if you have one that's in pretty good condition, it's worth some money.
Oh, wow. I see.
So I might have a collector's item in my parents' attic. So then, after that, Dave Foley and Bill Pullman sit down at the table, and I felt like awkward because I didn't want them to feel like I was like trying to join in their conversation. But they started talking about actually Dave Foley started talking about UFOs and DMT and all that sort of stuff, and that's my jam. You know that, Yuki.
Yeah, and then Bill Pullman did the Independence Day, right?
That's right. He did Independence Day. But what was funny is that, because Dave Foley and Bill Pullman were kind of having a normal conversation, and then all of a sudden stuff started coming up, and Bill Pullman was just like, but that's when I started joining in, and I'm like, hey, you ever read Terrence McKenna, or you ever have lucid dreams? You ever try DMT? And we went in this whole fucking crazy realm about all that stuff, and I'm sitting there going, one of the kids in the hall, and then the guy from Spaceballs is sitting here talking to me about aliens and fucking drugs.
I see.
So I just didn't want them to think I was a creeper, but Dave was into it because apparently, I didn't know this, he has a podcast about UFOs. I got to check it out.
Well, but we do talk about UFO sometime soon, right?
Yeah, we're definitely going to have a UFO episode. So this was a really surreal experience, Yuki.
Yeah, it's priceless.
Totally priceless. So we're going to cut to another segment here. I'm going to talk to one of these cosplayers, and we're going to get a little information about cosplays. All right, so I'm here in Northern Fancon on the floor at the booth with me and Yuki. Yuki's upstairs getting some lunch. So I have a few minutes to talk about cosplay. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you some questions about cosplay. So first, can you introduce yourself to everybody and tell us, any of your social medias, your cosplay, all that sort of stuff?
I'm Cami Leanne. I am a cosplayer guest here at Northern Fancon. I am available on Instagram, Cami_Lee_Ann. And yeah, I've been cosplaying for 12 years, so I run the cosplay contest. So what do you want to know about cosplay?
Okay, so for any people out there who are aspiring cosplayers or anything like that, how do you get started at a price point that won't break your bank? And how do you go about choosing your characters and what to play? Because you've been multiple characters throughout the weekend. You're not just one person. Every day is different.
That is a great question. Oh man, I actually put together a presentation today that was just that. I put on a presentation that's called Props on a Budget. So you came to the right person. Yes. So I encourage people to think outside the box. You don't need fancy tools to accomplish your goal. Well, walk around the dollar store, anything. A hot pink Christmas ornament could be a piece of a staff. You don't know. Look for shapes, look for textures, and then worry about changing the color of it later. So. As far as picking characters go, I really just go for characters that speak to me. I have a mean, resting bitch face, so I go for the grumpy characters, so I don't have to worry about being chipper and smiling.
That's amazing. So the first day, why don't we go through each day who you were? Because the first day you were blue, and from afar, I could tell that you were painted in some regard. But then when I got closer, your arms were fabric. And that was like awesome because I said, that's very smart because the face is blue, the fabric is there, so it looks like you've painted yourself, but you didn't. You did like a smart thing there. So why don't we go through each day what you did and which character you were?
Yeah, so day one I was classic X-Men Evolution Mystique. So hence the blue face. And yeah, so the only face paint I actually had was just on my face to about mid-neck. And then I wore a bodysuit. I definitely encourage the use of gloves. Like you can get nylon gloves for the skin illusion, and any place that you are going to be rubbing up against stuff, instead of using paint, try to find a bodysuit of the same texture. So that was day one. Day two, we went back to some more classic 90s. I was Krista from Fern Gully. Can't use the resting bitch face on that one, but who doesn't love a cute little fairy? So for that one, it was just about finding undergarments to secure it to. So I went with a bathing suit and then added the fabric on top and the wings and all of it. And I think the hardest part of that one was styling the wig, which I actually used felt for because she has a cartoony look. I put felt under the bangs and then used hairspray to glue the bangs to the felt, and away we went. It was fantastic.
Genius.
So. And then today we are Castlevania's Lenore from the Netflix series, and this one was a lot of fun to make. I've got a massive wig, but again, thinking outside the box. You don't need to go buy fancy fabrics. I am wearing a giant wool cloak right now, which is I made from altering a throw blanket that you would put on the foot of your bed. So just think outside the box and be creative with it.
It's very smart because you wouldn't even be able to tell it was a throw blanket. I thought it was just an elaborate cape that you spent at least $200-300 on. So now you run the cosplay contest. How do you judge these things? What are the criteria for judging who's the best, who's the middle, who's, we won't say the worst, who just didn't get to the heights of the other people? Because I was watching the cosplay yesterday and the Doc Ock won, but there was a Maleficent who had wings that expanded that I was blown away. I said, how did this person do this? So what are the, is it the level of creativity? Is it the level of the fabric, the costume, or how do you judge?
Well, when you get into the different levels of it, for the novices, it's more just about, how much did they build themselves and, the effort that they put in. For the journeyman, we're looking at you to use mixed mediums, starting to dabble. I don't just want to see you sewing, I want to see you sewing with a little bit of foam work. Maybe you painted a few things. With our masters, that's when you get into the really nitty-gritty. It becomes hard. You are parting hairs. And in the case of the Doc Ock versus Maleficent, it was just more, looking at the intricate little fine pieces that were done and just looking for continuity and how in-depth they went to achieve their goals.
So I've been asking everybody this who I speak to, because personally, Northern Fancon has been absolutely amazing. This is my first time in Canada. Everybody has been so nice. I've had just the greatest time at the place, partying afterwards. What does Northern Fancon mean to you, and how many years have you been doing this?
This will be my 4th year here. I was born and raised in Prince George, so there's a little bit of nostalgia for me there as well. But this is my family away from my family. I go to several other cons with this group. I go to Grand Prairie, and they just started one up on Vancouver Island that I'm part of too. This is my con family. This is my home away from home, and it's just a sense of community where you can come and be yourself and let whatever that freak flag is fly freely.
You know what? That's the truth, because there's been a lot of, you could just tell that people are so stiff during the week and have their regular lives, and then they come here and they let loose and they let their inner beast out sometimes. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Where can we find you in the future? Anything coming up that you're doing?
I'm actually going to Grand Prairie in July, so Grand Con is where I'll be at, running the cosplay contest again and hosting a booth and having a good old time.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking, and I'll send this to you on Instagram when it's up, and then we could meet up next year and have another party.
Sounds fantastic. Looking forward to it.
And wait, I was just joking. You didn't punch me in the eye last night. We went to say goodbye, and you decked me.
I did not deck you.
No, it was a joke. It was a big misunderstanding, but we had a great time, and it was really great to meet you. Thank you.
Yes, it was fantastic meeting the two of you. Looking forward to seeing you in the future.
All right, Yuki, that was amazing. I just spoke to a great cosplayer. There's so many cosplayers around here. We watched a little bit of the cosplay contest yesterday. What do you think? Who do you think the people who won should have won? Did you have any favorites of the weekend?
Just my opinion. But I thought that was a little political.
Uh-oh, you thought there was a political scandal?
Yeah, because costume really good didn't win. Then those. So looks like judge and then organizer and this player are very close friends to me.
Don't begin no political intrigue, Yuki. We're just outsiders here. We don't need to get into any political intrigue. I mean, I think that the person who won the Doc Ock was amazing. There was a lot of work that went into that and a lot of moving parts, so.
I know, but the only good thing, it wasn't creative enough for me. Look-wise, that was a no. But, this isn't that good, but this will win. They win, so that's why I think it's politics.
Your favorite of the weekend, I know for sure, was female Han Solo, because your eyes bugged out with some of those Tex Avery wolves back in the cartoons.
Oh yeah, she was the best. Today she's a cowgirl.
I know you noticed. So, all right, so Yuki, with so many people here we've met, and even the people that we haven't been able to interview and everything, so many great personalities and great, awesome new friends.
Good people, nice people, yes.
But I'm still sort of into the Mormonism of it all, and I got to talk to those brothers again because they brought up a really interesting thing about the Mormon Church, that they baptisms for the dead.
Oh my God, that's beyond the normal mind.
Beyond the mind's eye. So let's cut back to the Mormons, and then me and you will come back, and we'll wrap this thing up where we're live. Well, no, you know what? Let's call this dead at Northern Fancon, because we did live at Northern Fancon on the big stage.
Right.
So now that we're here on the last day, because we've done this over the last 2 days, we're dead because we're dead tired.
Yeah, but scary this morning, they came to me, the Yuki party isn't over yet.
Right, because last night we went out. We went to a club. Yuki was dancing all over the place. He was feeling himself. He had, like, instead of one button unbuttoned, you had 3 buttons unbuttoned. You were getting sexting from some cosplay girls. That's true. So, Yuki, you had a party weekend, and it was a lot. What do you think about the party town here?
I think the Canadian people are different from U.S. mentality. They're very fun people, very open about it, and then so many. I mean, everybody has a tattoo. That's more surprising, and then so many big boobs. So yeah.
So many big boobs, so little time. And you want a motorboat, but you also want to cruise ship them, because you go with the motorboat, but when the titties are really big, you got a cruise ship.
Yeah, because they're big, but not just big. They're very big. So motorboat isn't big enough.
That's right. You got a cruise ship. And yeah, we had a lot of fun this weekend, Yuki. And I think you may have found 1 or 2 wives that you're gonna bring home. Speaking of the Mormon, you could marry at least 3 or 4 of these cosplays.
Oh, and then they're very open. Not try to be sexual or anything, but some girls are offered motorboat.
Yuki, what? You got to move to Canada. This is crazy because like in America right now, sometimes you talk to people and they get so offended by everything. In Canada, they're not offended by anything. You can call them a piece of shit and they'll be like, "Hey, thanks a lot, eh?"
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not just a sense of humor. That's just I don't know how to describe it. And then they do motorboat as a greeting, so it's.
When you say hello, you say it with a little.
So, but I never seen that in the U.S. Even the U.S. is crazy, but not that kind of crazy here. So.
But like we said earlier, it's crazy, but it's a good kind of crazy. Sometimes it's a bad kind, but we got the good kind. All right, so let's talk to the Mormons again, our Mormon brothers. And they called me Josh many times. They didn't realize my name was John, but I didn't have the heart to tell them that I was not Josh.
So he's John, not Josh.
No, I'm John, but they called me Josh.
Oh, you didn't correct them?
No, I didn't have the heart to correct them because they were just so nice and giving me the information. I couldn't be like, actually, my name is John. No, I'm Josh now.
Oh, okay. Hi, Josh.
All right, let's talk to the Mormons. Yarny.
Okay, Josh.
Josh and Yarny's Patreon buffet coming at you.
We have a new name.
A little addendum here. We got baptisms for the dead, which is so intriguing. I got to hear more.
Okay, so let's just say that you weren't religious in your regular life and you died a non-Mormon person, and that you go to heaven and they're like, hey, only people who are baptized go to heaven. How do you get baptized? You didn't know about baptism. There's this thing in the church called baptism for the dead, which is when someone who is alive acts as a vessel for someone who is dead. And so when you're at the church, you will look up names of family members or relatives or just completely random people around the world.
Yeah,
just a list of people.
They will go so far. Like, they'll be like, and they need to ask permission to the nearest family member, so they'll find their, 6th cousin, and they'll come up to this person that has no idea about the church and just doesn't know who these people are. And they're like, and they'll have this 14-year-old girl go, "Hi, I see that your great-great-grandfather wasn't baptized. Am I allowed to go get baptized in his stead? And for your dead grandfather so he can get into heaven?" And so they basically believe that if you aren't baptized, you aren't in this VIP line to get into the spirit world.
So one more thing I have to add to this is the process is you get the name, you go to your nearest temple, you put on the white underwear, you put on the grippy socks, you put on the robe, you go in the water, and they baptize you 30 to 200 times.
In a row. They just start
in a row.
You.
Whoa.
Yeah,
So they have
and
a
so they go
projector.
like they're like, and the name. So they have a projector above with the name that appears. So they go, and these names could literally be anyone, right? It's really funny because you don't have to think of their name. There's no middle names. There's just first and last name. John Smith, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, we baptize you. Dunk. Jane Smith, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, dunk, and it's 30 to 200 or more times. You can
they'll have like a line of like
hundreds of people doing this.
So you get to this baptismal font, and this you may be thinking this is like a pool. No, this is in the temple, so you need to get a recommend from your bishop. And then once you get there, you have to come there in proper clothing. You have to get your verification scanned. You go in, then you go into the changing room. They check your size for your Mormon underwear. So they have the boys and the girls go in separate areas. They check their size, get them everything set up. They send them to a changing room. You have to take off every piece of clothing. So they give you a white onesie, white underwear, and white grippy socks because it's And then once they bring you out here. They bring you into this baptismal font that has like bronze bulls holding up a giant marble font filled with water. And I mean, this is like, there's only a few photos. You can't find photos of the inside of the temple because it's like no cameras allowed. So you go in there, they have on the way there, there's like, I mean, imagine if you put 20 people with OCD that was like super severe to organize the place. The place looks immaculate. They just have like 10 people dusting and protecting the place. Yeah.
There's a picture here, the temple baptismal front. It looks like a crazy Poconos hot tub motel. It's some crazy stuff, but there's like all these golden calves and stuff, or cows or whatever, bulls. This is insane.
It's all marble flooring, and they bring you in, and you walk in. So they'll bring in groups of like 20, maybe even 50 or 100 kids who sit around this font. These are kids. There's from like 12 to like 16. And they're like, in the name of the Father and the Holy Ghost, and then everyone brings like 100 names with them from the ancestry. So this is why Mormons care so much about the ancestry. That's why you find that Ancestry.com is owned by Mormons, because they care about baptizing dead people.
Wow, baptizing dead people. This is a revelation to me. I know that much, and I'm going to be looking into this. Any other final thoughts on baptisms for the dead?
I hated it. The water was chlorinated. And you just getting dunked like 100 and 200 times. I remember my dad wanted me to do it 100 times one year, and I did, and it's the worst thing I ever done.
The worst thing he's ever done, and he's lived through Canadian winters, so you know that's really bad. So
I enjoyed it though. I really enjoyed it. I found it super fun because you go in, and this place was immaculate. It was clean. There was, and it was always kind of interesting to see because you'd walk in and you would see this open area with these few couches, and then I asked, "What's upstairs?" Because the man who was in like the more grand kind of white suit was coming from the top. I'm like, "What's up there?" And they're like, "That's God's throne." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "That's for when Jesus comes back to earth. That's his throne." I'm like,
A throne?
Yeah.
This is new to me.
Yeah, so when you go up there, they said that there's a throne that they're cleaning, and that only the person who's like the head of the temple and is like the head person who like volunteers at the temple is allowed to clean. So no one really is, there's no pictures of this. There is no documented pictures in the entirety of the world of this room. There is no pictures of this room. The only people who have seen this room are the people who constructed it and the people who clean it. So I would venture to say, with how hard it is to even get in there, into the actual temple, I would say that it'd probably be easier to rob a casino than to yes, I would actually venture to say that. Yeah.
Wow, harder to get a picture of God's throne than to rob a casino. So, all right, this is such an informative information here. We're going to really contemplate this. We're going to figure out what Yuki thinks about this. Guys, thank you so much. Any other final thoughts about Northern Fancon? Why'd you come?
I love Lego. I love nerd stuff. I love Star Wars. I like meeting new people like Josh over here. I think it's awesome. So.
Yeah. And you?
I came here because my brothers were coming. I also knew that some people I knew and that I used to work with might be here. Like I saw one of the guys I used to work with. I won't say where because I probably shouldn't, but he was the cameraman over there. And no, I saw him there, got to say hi to him. I saw a lot of interesting faces, thought I could buy myself this cool hat I got. went with my
Yeah,
girlfriend.
so let me just describe real quick. You're wearing a hat that says sleep deprived and struggling, and then a shirt that says shit show supervisor. So this is a great ensemble you got going on.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was great, and I've had a great time here at FanCon, especially meeting you guys. You guys are funny.
Thank you so much. And Gavin, any final thoughts?
Nothing much.
All right, nothing much here at Northern Fancon. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you next time at the buffet. All right, we're here after the convention at the Canadian Brew House, which is a bar that plays hockey and stuff like that. And I'm going to admit I'm kind of drunk. I drank about 6 or 7. I don't even remember what the last fucking thing that we did was. Maybe I talked to the Mormons. Maybe I just talked to Mary McDonald. So, Yuki, today Mary McDonald called you cute. What do you think about that?
I'm happy about that. Yeah, I like to.
Yeah, because she looked you up and down in the elevator, and this is not a lie. I mean, she did. This is just what happened, even though I'm drunk. The only reason I'm experiencing this right now is because I'm telling the truth, because I had a couple of drinks. She looked at Yuki from head to toe, and then she started asking him questions about him, and it was because we were in the elevator together. And then today, Yuki asked for a picture, and she whispered, she goes, "He's cute."
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
That's right, Yuki, you're cute. So I always thought you were cute, and now she thinks you're cute. So now you could be on Battlestar Galactica, you could be on Donnie Darko.
Now I'm gonna work with her then. Maybe. Ooh, oh, that's nice.
Maybe it'll lead to a couple of jobs. So this is the end of our our second Canadian podcast. We had live in Northern Fancon. Now we have dead in Northern Fancon. I'll probably be dead by the end of this night because I had way too many tall beers. Yuki, what are you doing right now?
I'm going to eat dinner.
Why didn't you want to eat at the Canadian Brew House? They had all kinds of weird things.
Well, this is a bar. I don't drink, so bar food doesn't make me. Bar food isn't real dinner. It's a appetizer. So I have to eat real food.
So even in Canada, that's what we heard is that you can't get a rare burger here.
Right. So what kind of burger is that? Everything has to be well done. Well, I couldn't even order a medium rare hamburger.
But there are a couple of good things about Canada we learned. You know what's cool about Canada? When you sit down to eat with a shitload of people, like right now we literally have like 30 people inside of here, you get an individual check. Everybody gets one check. You don't get a check for the whole group. You get your own check.
That's very good.
America needs to wise up because sometimes you go out to eat with people that you don't know or you don't like, and then everybody at the end of the thing has to argue about who's paying, how much you paid. If somebody gets a one order of fries and another motherfucker drinks 17 Budweisers, they all pay the same. They end up splitting the check. It's not unfair, but...
Yeah, it's not fair because I had only one iced tea. Right?
Right, but in Canada, the waitresses remember each seat has a number, and then they say at the end, you get your own check. They go around to every single person and they pay, and it's so efficient.
Yes. Is that a smart thing? Or I'm not saying Americans stupid, but...
You know what? It's not that America's stupid. It's that they are, here in Canada, they're a little bit smarter as far as that goes because... You want to fucking get that shit done. You don't want to have to argue about the check, and then all of a sudden, the friends aren't friends anymore. No, everybody pays their own way. They pay exactly for what they ate. They pay exactly for what they drank.
That's right. So, yeah, again, I don't want to say Americans stupid or anything, but it's just maybe system, huh?
The Canadian system. So, Yuki, this is the end of our journey here for as far as the podcast goes. Any final thoughts here at the buffet?
No, everything was fine. Good people, and then we really like to come back next year too.
That's right. We have to thank Leah and Leah. I keep saying Leah because I'm a fucking stupid asshole Leah, who brought us out here, and all the people at Northern Fancon, all the great people we met. Anybody else we have to thank, Yuki?
Well, Nadine, I'll show you.
What are you whispering about, Yuki? Jesus Christ. Jesus. Oh, the other thing, Bill Pullman came up to me at the end of the day. Like, seriously, he ran out of a room, and he's like, hey, it was great to meet you. I thought he was talking to somebody else. He came up to me, and he's like,
Really?
hey,
Nice.
yeah, he goes, you know a lot about those aliens and stuff like that. That's cool. And I said, yeah, man, read some Terrence McKenna and stuff like that. He's like, great to meet you. And then Yuki's showing me a picture of some humongous Canadian titties. What the fuck? You're texting over here?
I'm just, I didn't know.
Okay, no names, but I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
This is the one.
Oh my God. Well, this is the end of the Yuki and John's podcast buffet from Canada. We all thank you so much for taking this journey with us. One more word, Yuki.
Motorboat.
Motorboat cruise ship. Canada!